Throughout the GTA games, we see some iconic duos, whether it's Ken Rosenberg and Tommy Vercetti in GTA Vice City, CJ and Caesar in GTA San Andreas, or Roman and Nico in GTA 4. Now, I'll be honest, it's kinda tough picking favorites with all these guys, but for me, the most enjoyable duo have always been Trevor and Michael. Whenever these two are on screen, it really seems like you're watching a play almost, and every single time you know that you're in for at least something that'll at least get a chuckle out of you. But it's interesting for me when specifically looking at Prologue, because that dynamic of them constantly messing with each other and poking fun at each other and arguing from time to time seems to not be present yet. It's more of a case where they seem to act more as colleagues or acquaintances rather than good friends, which you can see clearly is a case in the mainline story. But what's weird to me about the Prologue stuff that I just talked about is at this point, even in the Prologue in 2004, they've known each other for roughly 15 years already. So it's interesting to see, and kind of weird, like I said, that dynamic that you see in the mainline is not the same. It's not the more comfortable, friendly dynamic that you get to see in the mainline story. Speaking of which, let's get to the main game. And when first looking at Michael's perspective before he even reunites with Trevor, he pretty much is convinced that Trevor has to be dead, that there's no way he's alive, that he's surely not coming back, that's it. However, in the mission Fame or Shame, when Trevor shows up to his house, you can tell Michael is absolutely in shock, and to a certain degree, I imagine he's kind of scared shitless. As you can see, he stands in front of Jimmy like that, just to kind of be there and try to protect him in case Trevor tries something. So he's not all like, holy shit, I'm glad to see you and all that. Nah. He's certainly nervous. He's clearly nervous because he just saw the guy he wanted to kill off, the guy he wanted to get rid of, show up to his doorstep after all these years. But later on in the mission is presented a different dynamic than I talked about in the Prologue. Here, you have more of that dynamic that I mentioned. You have more of them messing with each other, throwing insults and whatnot, but you can see that Trevor and Michael are mostly glad to be friends again, even though Michael is still, like I said, scared shitless of Trevor. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, if you feel like supporting the channel in another way, please do check out my channel memberships. That would help me out a lot too. And also, one last thing, if you want to see more of my Kingdom Hearts content that has moved to the other channel, make sure to check that channel out. It's going to be also in the description down below. In missions later on, such as the Merryweather Heist or Blitz Play, or even at the beginning of By the Book, there's sort of that dynamic that I've been hinting at a couple times throughout this video, and I'm really a big fan of it, to be honest. It's just two homies messing with each other as you do, you know? Moving on to the whole arc with the Martin Madrazo kidnapping his wife and whatnot after Trevor kidnaps Patricia, we see some situations that we haven't really seen much of before. Maybe something along the lines of this was seen in the Merryweather Heist, but not much. Essentially, if you don't remember, Trevor kidnaps Patricia, and Michael's all like, what the fuck did you do? We're dead, we're screwed, you did something stupid.
Did you kill him? What kind of fucking animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him. Oh, fuck. But I did kidnap his wife. Oh, no. Oh, shit. What the fuck did you do?
And I feel like this gives us more of a taste of what things were like between the two back in the day. Like Trevor would mess up by killing someone or doing something stupid, and they'd have to go on the run or something else would go down. Michael briefly mentions in a hangout when the whole trio is present that Trevor would commonly kill someone in broad daylight, causing them to have to jump town, and that they, due to that, couldn't really make friends or contacts anywhere. Things between the two arguably changed the most though in and after the mission Bury the Hatchet, because up to this point Michael was doing an okay job at sort of keeping the truth from Trevor, but over the weeks that they spent together, Trevor's been thinking about who was buried in Michael's grave. This essentially leads to the big conflict between the two as Trevor of course figures it out. Michael goes after him to North Yankton, and in my opinion the best scene in the whole game, the gloves are finally off and the two are suddenly in front of Brad's grave, pointing guns at each other. They're on opposite sides, they're screaming at each other, and this, as much as it's insane and intense and as much as it looks like they're about to kill each other at any moment, I see this is exactly what these two needed. for them to eventually at the end of the game become friends again, but we're not at that point yet, because after this they understand each other more than they ever did before. And now comes my favorite part. When things are still fresh for Trevor in the mission fresh meet at the beginning, Franklin says to Trevor like, hey, let's go save Michael, and Trevor simply goes, yeah, fuck you dude, he's dead to me. And from here on up until the wrap up mission, he actually seems like he wants Michael dead. Hell, in fresh meat he literally says, I hope he's dead. And Michael is constantly looking over his shoulder after fresh meat, thinking like, whoa, will he actually kill me? Will he go after me? What will he do? What do I do? And so on. However, something kinda unexpected happens in the wrap up mission, and Trevor, who was likely contacted by Lester or maybe Franklin, shows up with a sniper rifle and saves Michael's life, but more surprisingly in my opinion, saves Dave's life too, which Dave was supposed to kill Trevor, which is insane that he saved him after everything. I gotta say, on a side note, this moment, the first time I played the game, put such a fat smile on my face. It's probably as wholesome of a moment as we'll ever get in a GTA game. Funny how Michael here actually thinks that Trevor's about to kill him, but he's just like, nah, run, get out of here. Now, before we look at the final scene in the wrap-up mission, I want you to make a quick guess. What do you think made Trevor come back? Well, if you guess the big one, you're probably right, as that was the dream heist that the two have been wanting to pull probably ever since the early 90s. And to be honest, if they didn't have that, I don't know if Trevor would have ever returned. Maybe he would because he's just a loyal dude, but who knows. Anyway, in their usual fashion, they start arguing, and these arguments, in my opinion, are what also makes them the most iconic and genuinely entertaining duo to watch. But yeah, after this, they start planning out the big one, and these two are constantly just either in each other's faces, being all like, fuck you, man, pointing the finger at each other, or just poking fun at one another, which I can't ever get enough of, because here you have these 45-year-old dudes arguing like two middle school kids at a lunch table. It's fucking hilarious. But what makes it even better in my opinion is that in the end they do work together, they do the big one, and they get rid of all the bad guys that were after them, and they're able to stay friends somehow and put their differences behind, which in my opinion makes it all worth it. And you can say whatever you want, but despite everything they've been through a fuck ton together before or in Los Santos, and they do care about each other and they learn from each other, you know? Trevor in the end learns to forgive, and Michael learns not to be a selfish dick and take his friends and family for granted like he's been doing for the last who knows how many years. And I think that Franklin played a big part in that, because not only was he the middleman and stepped in many times when it seems like the two were about to kill each other, but he also saved them many times from FIB agents and Chinese gangsters alike. And finally, we do get the confirmation that the two are on good terms again during a hangout. They truly actually apologize to each other and move on from the chaos that they've all been through over the past few weeks or months. They put that shit behind them, and it seems like they're on good terms these days, if they're even alive. Who knows, maybe we'll find out in some other DLC or whatever. But with that said, I want to thank you for watching this little bit of a GTA 5, one of my favorite lore videos that I made in a while. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Leave your thoughts and opinions as always in the comments down below. Always love to read them and reply to them. Until the next video stream, bye bye.